Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim she'asani b'tzelmo. Baruch atah Eloheinu cheolamim she'astani ben chorin. Baruch atah Eloheinu cheolamim she'astani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim hanoten le'ya'ef koach. And one more on 163. If we ever wonder what there is to be grateful for, we just punt back to the daily miracles, the intricacies within us and around us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cheolamim asher yatzar et adam b'chokhmah uvaravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim. Galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chvodecha shemi patech echad mehem o yisatem echad mehem yafshar litkemem v'lamod lefanecha. Baruch atah Adonai רופך כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. If Minna or Heather can put page numbers in the chat, that would be helpful so that I can see what comes next. There is a remarkable line. Do we have it? With apologies, I'm just going to grab the document here. There was computer trouble, but there's still much to be grateful for. So we will get there momentarily. We can go straight to page 209. Tov lehodot ladonai. It is good to give thanks. Lehodot, the same root as hodu, thanks, which interestingly is also India, and therefore with the crazy mistaken Native American connections of Thanksgiving, it is sometimes called the Festival of Hodu, and a turkey is the bird known as Hodu in this fascinating etymology. The key here is hodah, gratitude, as in modeh, modah, modim, we are grateful. And as in Hodu, the plural imperative, you all must give thanks. Tov lehodot, it is good to give thanks to the Holy One on this weekend and always. Tov lehodot Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot ladonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Avo vetecha ve'emunatcha balelot. Tov lehodot ladonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot ladonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Very grateful to Shelley for posting, and also to Heather for posting. So the link to the Siddur, in case anyone does not have the Reconstructionist Siddur in front of them, is now in the chat, and you're welcome to grab that there. We are on page 223, where we're going to single out just a couple of lines that we don't usually get to do. And we are turning there momentarily. Okay. This from Psalm 147. Too often we skip over the Psalms that don't have great melodies, but it turns out we can repurpose melodies as we go. This is 5 lines from the bottom on Psalm 147. And Minna and Heather, if you have the document that I shared, in the right-hand column are the transliteration that could be posted in the chat as well. But we're looking at the 5th line from the bottom on page 223. Anu ladonai betodah, the very word to say thanks, todah, one of the first words we all learn. Answer to God with todah, with thanksgiving. Zamru lelohenu v'chinor, sing out to the Holy One, to our God on the stringed instrument. Hamchaseh shamayim ba'avim, this is the God who covers the heavens with clouds. Hamechin la'aretz matar, and who prepares dew or precipitation for the ground. In these 2 lines, we have so much about what to be grateful for. We are first the imperative, and then the reminder that it is our God and that we have the gift of music and of expression, and then the gifts of nature. All, oh, thank you, all in so few words, and those words are now in the chat. We're going to repurpose the Nava Tehillah melody that many of you know, and it fits these lines as well. Anu ladonai betodah, zamru lelohenu v'chinor, hamchaseh shamayim be'avim, hamechin la'aretz matar. Anu ladonai betodah, zamru lelohenu v'chinor, hamchaseh shamayim be'avim, hamechin la'aretz matar. Anu ladonai betodah, zamru lelohenu v'chinor, hamchaseh shamayim be'avim, hamechin la'aretz matar. Page 247. Leaving time for more about gratitude a bit later in the service, we rise in body or spirit for the call to worship. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom, uvorei et hakol. Page 263. And Heather, again, in the right-hand column of the grid, if that is postable. We had such a treat last week. I believe it's on YouTube. It is the rare service worth watching a week later or 2 weeks later, when we had Rabbi Josh Warshofsky, one of the leading Jewish musicians of our time, with us for an incredible Shabbat. And one of his very profound contributions to the liturgy was this: Hame'ira la'aretz v'ladarim aleha. God is the one who shines light. This is, after all, the Yotzer, about the divine light, the very beginning of all of nature, photosynthesis. It all comes back to the sacred light of the sun. And so God is the one who puts that in motion. God is nature, if you will. Hame'ira, in the feminine, because after all, this is in rachamim, from rechem, womb energy, mercy. Hame'ira, the one who shines light, la'aretz, on the land, v'ladarim aleha, and on all who dwell upon it, birachamim, in mercy. Uvtuvo, and in divine goodness, mechadesh, renews, bechol yom tamid, every day, always, ma'aseh vereshit, the work of creation. And it goes like this, with a pretty catchy hum, ha, ha. Ha 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 hum ha 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 hum ha 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 hum ha ha hum ha hum ha Hameira, Hameira, Hameira la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim. Hameira, Hameira, Hameira la'aretz v'ladarim aleha, v'ladarim aleha, v'ladarim aleha, v'ladarim aleha, v'ladarim aleha, v'ladarim aleha, berachamim. Uvtuvo mechadeshet bechol yom tamid. Uvtuva mechadeshet ma'aseh Bereshit, ha 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 Page 269, the conclusion of the Nature Appreciation Prayer. Poel gevurot oseh chadashot zoreh tzvakot matzmiach yeshuot borei refuot, creator of healings, Norah tehilot, exalted in appreciations, Adonai niflaot, the master of wonders, HaMachadesh b'tuvo b'chayom tamid ma'aseh bereshit, who renews in divine goodness every day, always, the work of creation. Ka'amor le'oserim gedolim, ki le'olam chasto. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkechu lanu bimhera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hame'orot. And on page 275, the prayer of unity and appreciation for tradition that leads us into the Shema, picking up at the bottom of 275. V'havienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz, v'tolichenu k'mamiyut le'artzenu, ki el poel yeshuot ata, v'kerevtanu l'shimcha hagadol, selah be'emet, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. 277, Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. A moment to continue on our own the second and third paragraphs of the Shema. למען תזכרו ועשיתם מכל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים ללבביכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. הוויה אלוהיכם אמת. Page 291. Our redemption song leading us into Michamocha, leading us into the Amidah. For the Amidah, as most of us know, the first 3 stanzas out loud. Feel free to go at your own pace, and then we will continue on our own from 306 through 323 with our own silent prayers. If you're looking for one to underline, I'm going to recommend number 6, which is literally called the Hoda'ah, the constant, everyday liturgy gratitude prayer, starting on page 314. So just remember pi 314 if you want to tune into gratitude on this Thanksgiving weekend, Shabbat, or any time whatsoever. Redemption song, courtesy of Bob Marley and Exodus 15. Page 291. Tehilot le'elyon baruch hu barach Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira besimcha rabah v'amru chulam Ami chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot osef eleh nora tehilot osef eleh. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption song, redemption song. Shira chadasha, שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפתיים יחד, כולם הטובים לכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. We rise as we are able. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחנו ממך, יהודה וישראל, גואלנו, Adonai tzvaot shemo kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Israel. Page 295. Havaya Svatai Tiftach Ufi Agiti Latecham. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotinu v'Imatenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol, Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. רוח חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. 299, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי כל חי ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות כל חי, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני. I turned the page too quickly. מחיה כל חי. 303. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר חזק משמיעים קול, מנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. 305. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצחים, ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, hallelujah. This one's a sing-along. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך. כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה, אדוני, האל הקדוש, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גודלך. Blessed are you, the awesome one, the holy God. 306 through 323 on our own, pausing on page 314 for extra giving of thanks. Sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova, uvracha, 321, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova, uvracha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la la. Sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova, uvracha. יהיו לרצון אמרי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני, צורי וגואלי. a moment at what we call Chazarat Hashatz, the repetition of the davener, to linger on a theme. So we're picking up from page 314, that theme of gratitude, such a core notion in our tradition. We've already seen in the biblical and rabbinic periods through the Sidur so many conjugations of hoda'ah, lehodot, todah, gratitude. Again, not just for Thanksgiving weekend. In the Musar tradition, where we focus on our own inclinations and we strengthen our own sort of emotional muscles to do the right thing in the moment, hakarat hatov, calling out the gratitude, making it known, putting additional appreciation into the world is itself a core instruction, a mitzvah, if you will. So many of us had the opportunity to gather virtually, perhaps, in person, perhaps with others. And we went around and shared what we're grateful for in different ways. And I trust everyone on this set of screens said grateful for vaccines. And I bet everyone said grateful for loved ones, particularly if we were able to be with them in one way or another. I will say today, as some of us said over the last couple days on Zoom, I am grateful for Zoom. I'm grateful that this pandemic happened in this era. Had we been daveners in 1918 with the epidemic 100 years earlier, we would have been so atomized and separate from one another. But through this magic, we're together. I want to invite in the chat to share, if you will, some of the additional things that you were grateful for. And this can be as obscure or creative as you like. But I would love for the chat to just be filled for a few moments with expressions of gratitude. Grandchildren, including adoption, including technology, health, changing of seasons, warm sun, cold air, children, grandchildren, access to good medical care, airplanes, bicycles, the lingering colors of fall. Take a moment and look outside. Neighbors, members of this congregation, community, resources, parents and kids, ancestors and bravery. Particular moms, dads, parents, Dr. Fauci, and let the people say amen. Grateful for community, grateful for language, grateful for all y'all. I don't know if Heather is able to screen share the first page of that document. It is Todah. So the very beginning. There's a wonderful song by Uzi Chitman. If you can scroll up to the very top of the document itself, if you can. If not, don't worry about it. I will say I'm at the moment not terribly grateful for Windows 11, which caused my computer to crash exactly at 9:30, which is why all the pieces that were lined up to screen share are not, and I do apologize for that. If anyone knows of good fixes for the video codecs error, let me know after Shabbat. Thank you. If you can make it larger, this is fabulous. This song goes back to the 70s. It's in the Israeli top repertoire. And you see all of the many expressions of gratitude that are lifted here by Uzi Chitman, and it's simply called Toda, thank you. And it's a whole bunch of little things, Shebiz Chutam, that through their zechut, through the merit of all these little things, Ani Kayam, I am sustained. And just as with the list that we just did, a wonderful opportunity simply to give thanks. If you know it, you can look at the screen and sing along. And if you don't know it, that's okay too. And thank you so much. 3 stanzas. Ya na na da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da da. That's the melody. Toda toda al kol ma shebarata, toda al ma sheli natata, al or einayim chaver oshnayim, al ma sheyesh li ba'olam, al shir koleach velev soleach, שבזכותם אני קיים, תודה על כל מה שבראת, תודה על מה שלי נתת, על צחוק של ילד ושמי התכלת, על אדמה ובית חם, פינה לשבת, אישה אוהבת, שבזכותם אני קיים, תודה על כל מה שבראת, תודה על מה שלי נתת, על יום של אושר, תמימות ויושר, על יום עצוב שנעלם, תשועות 2000 וכפיים, שבזכותם אני קיים. יא דה 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 יא דה דה יא דה 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 יא דה דה יא דה 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 יא דה 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 יא דה 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 יא דה דה דה. So much to be grateful for. Page 387. As we move to the Torah service for Parshat Vaishev. The last 3 lines in the Aramaic. Be'ana rachetz v'lishme kadisha Kadisha Yakira, Ana Amar Tushbecha, Be'ana Rachetz, Be'ana Rachetz, V'lishme Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Amar Tushbechan, Yehi Rava Kodamach, Tetiftach Libi Beoraita, Betashlim Mishalin de Libi, Veliba de Cholamach Yisrael, Letavu Chayin, Velishlam, Amen. So, the Torah is out. I realized along the way that Zoom services were able to feel full and yet be so much quicker because all of those transitions in pageantries, like getting the Torah out of the ark and moving it around the table, around the room, as much as we miss those, that by compressing, right, as poet Marge Piercy says, blessing is the art of compressing attention. And there is something to be said for 90 minutes of having each other and having tradition on Zoom, and then going about our Saturday. There's also something to be said for being back in the room and actually having the Torah come up to you and being able to do this. So may we enjoy both into the future. Genesis chapter 39 and 40. We are in the third this year of every Parsha. This is Parshat Vaishev. And great appreciation, my sister-in-law has the document and has posted the page numbers for where our reading begins. This Parsha is, of course, the beginning of the 4 Parsha unit that takes us to the end of Genesis. It's called the Joseph cycle, and Bible scholars since the 19th century have extolled it for being basically a novella. This really remarkable, well-developed, with just the right number of interruptions when the camera pans off to the family back in Canaan and then goes back to Egypt, and lots of ups and downs. In fact, a real cliffhanger, this particular Parsha as it ends. So we begin with young, bratty Joseph bragging about his dreams and he is annoying, the brothers are annoyed to the point of meanness, to the point of kids, don't try this at home with your siblings. And of course, almost killing him, putting him into the pit, sold off as a slave to Egypt, where the ups and downs begin. And one of the great ups and downs is with the wife of Podiphar. So Podiphar, one of Pharaoh's right-hand men, and his wife painted here as a troublemaker and a seductress. And usually when Joseph refuses her advances, it is seen as a mark of piety. Our tradition calls him Yosef HaTzadik, Joseph the righteous. If we fast forward 2 weeks and we see the collectivization scheme that he put in place, which made Pharaoh all powerful and completely took away every bit of economic power that the serfs had, we can see the ways in which Joseph the righteous perhaps was not so righteous in the effects of his economic thinking. That's for another devar. Today, perhaps piety. It's also some chutzpah when you are a slave to resist anything that your master or master's wife tells you. So when we think about the power imbalance, there's the gender imbalance in one direction, but the slave-master imbalance in the other. We are all advantaged and disadvantaged in different ways. Joseph is in a very particular situation when he resists those advances. So again, the classic version is Joseph is so righteous, but there's a counter reading from the Midrash, and I'm grateful to Rabbi Aviva Richman of Hadar for exposing me to this. This is from the Talmud in Sota, which often records Midrashim. It says, Ba'ota Sha'ah, at that very moment, Bata, there came a diuk, an image of his father, and appeared to him in the window. So just imagine that Joseph is in a place of weakness, either relative to his position as a slave or perhaps his own desires and willingness to take advantage of Potiphar's wife's opportunity. And he was ready. He was going to violate. But if he did, he would be severing his connection, even though his family had put him into this pit. And for all he knew, his father was in on it. It would have severed that connection with family. So at that moment, an image of his father, of Jacob, appeared to him in the window. And he heard the voice saying, Yosef, in the future, your brothers will be written on the stones of the ephod. That is the breastplate with the 12 for each tribe that the high priest would wear and would consult as an oracle. And you will be among them. Do you want your name wiped out from among them and be called a roeh zonot, which is a play on words because he's already called a roeh achiv. He is a shepherd among his brothers. This would be instead related to the word shepherd is friend, a friend of harlotry. Do you want to go there? And it is that causes him to reconsider. So at face value, Aviva Richmond writes about this midrash, this is about being put into line by a scary parent who warns him he's at risk of being a companion to harlots. But think about the significance of seeing his brother's face in the broader context of the story. He has no reason to think he is part of his family anymore. Yet seeing his father's face, Yosef is startled back into a sense of relationship with his family. And this is what stops him from engaging with Potiphar's wife. Yaakov is reassuring Yosef that he has a place in the family and its ark, which must come as a total shock to Yosef. And one more layer. Not only would submitting to Potiphar's wife have been an expression of alienation from his story and from his identity, but for Yosef, this is also a moment of transition into leadership. Conjuring the scene where he is stripped of his coat, if you remember that earlier, his multicolored tunic, the amazing Technicolor dream coat. So that was literally pulled out from him by the hands of his brothers. Now he leaves behind his own garment in Potiphar's wife's hand when he sees his father and hears that message. He abandons his cloak, which represents the self-centeredness and divisiveness of his past. He understands that his true inheritance is a garment that interweaves all the brothers into one, the breastplate, the ephod, with all of their names, his among them. This clarity of self, of belonging, of purpose, undergirds the strength of conviction he is able to muster in this challenging moment. Only now can he truly be described as Ro'eh Yisrael. From Psalm 80, we are told that Joseph is the shepherd of Israel. We are here because of accidents of history, and if we believe the biblical narrative, all of Joseph's ups and downs were what it took to get the family through famine and down to Egypt and then back out of Egypt so that history would unfold as it did, for better and for worse. But we remember that ultimately the garment that matters for all of us is not our own finery. It's not the gifts that we exchange in this winter holiday season. It is the gift of an interwoven destiny. We are only at our finest when we know that everyone else is clothed and we are in it together. One last footnote, because when we move to the maftir, the closing reading of our three, we're going to hear about the baker and the butler, famous scene where Joseph correctly interprets the dreams, and the butler, the cupbearer, he correctly says will be restored to his position, and indeed he is. And the final line of the Parsha is Velo zachar sar hamashkim et Yosef. But even despite this miracle of the correct dream interpretation and the gratitude that he had poured out back in prison when he heard Joseph's interpretation, the cupbearer did not remember Joseph. Vaish kechehu, and he forgot him. How easy it is to have moments of deep, intense gratitude and then be swept away with the next thing and forget it. The cupbearer was less rich because he stopped savoring the gratitude of that experience. The world was denied Joseph being sprung from prison earlier because of his inability, the cupbearer's inability to stay focused on the gratitude. A blessing for all of us. Stay focused on the gratitude. Shabbat Shalom. 3 aliyot. I was hoping that the first and third would be willing to be the aliyah as well. In the Siddur, if you want the short version, it's page 169 and 171 as the blessings. And we turn first to Kayla Niles. This is the page numbers listed here, Genesis 39, chapter 1, on page 257 of the old version of the Plout, or the bottom of 252 in the new Plout. And this is hopefully in celebration of healing, as well as in gratitude for all on this weekend. So Kayla, if you are ready and able, Vayazor v'egen v'yashgel lechol hachosim bo v'nomar Amen hakol havu g'dol hinunu chavod laTorah Ta'amod. Kayla and John l'Aliyah Rishona Baruch Shem Torah le'Mo Yisrael b'kedushato v'atem hadvikim l'Adonai Chaim kulchem hayom.
One of us has to manage the puppy, so I've got it myself.
Do I need to change the setting? Hold on.
No.
Security. There we go.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaBorach.
Kayla, try unmuting now.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
I am
unmuted.
Okay. Oh. I'm realizing you can hear her. I can't because I'm on a borrowed computer. Hold on. Okay, try now.
Okay. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBorach. Baruch HaBorach L'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kervanu Lavodato V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'Yosef hurad Mitzrayma Vayiknehu Podiphar Soris Paro Sar Hatabachim Ish Mitzri Miyad HaYishmaelim Asher Horiduhu Shama Vayehi Adonai et Yosef Vayehi Ish Matzliach Vayehi Bevet Adonai HaMitzri Vayahar Adonai Ki Adonai Ito V'chol Asher Hu Asah Adonai Matzliach Biyado Vayimtza Yosef chen Be'einav V'yisharet Oto Vayafkidehu al Beito V'chol yesh lo natan biyado Vayehi me'az Hifkid oto b'beito V'al kol asher yesh lo Vayivarech Adonai et Beit HaMitzri biglal Yosef Vayehi birkat Adonai v'chol asher yesh lo v'bayit u'vasadeh Vayazov kol asher lo b'yad Yosef lo yada oto me'umah Ki im halechem asher hu ochel Vayehi Yosef Yefei Toar Yefei Mareh Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, and how wonderful to have Kayla back at strength and on camera and in community after a scary bout of Lyme disease. So let us all add to the list to be grateful in an era of antibiotics. There are no.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, Fred.
No, thank you, Kayla. Wonderful. Thank you. Gratitude is sometimes a mixed bag, and that is very much the case as we turn the camera now to our beloved Marty Tolchin and his and our beloved Barbara Rosenfeld, joined by his daughter, Kay. Many of us knew her as Karen back in the day, in from Colorado, and we are so grateful to have you all with us today. For this second Aliyah, we are picking up at chapter 39, verse 7, and I will have a special blessing for the three of you afterwards. Okay. And you can use, as we discussed, the traditional, because you can't be in front of the Torah, but you deserve to have the fullness of blessing today. Okay. But you have to unmute. No, still usually on the lower left.
Okay,
Hey.
here we are. Adonai Habarach,
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lasos b'divrei Torah.
Amen. And to Marcy Greenstone, please, for the reading.
Huh? Is that us?
No.
Unmute, Marcy. Thank you.
Okay, I wasn't able to before. Thank you. Okay. Amen. Vayehi achar hadvarim ha'ele vatitar ashet Adonav et eineha el Yosef v'tomer shechava imi vayemaen vayomer el eshe Adonav hein Adoni lo yada'iti ma ba'bayit v'chol asher yishlo natan biyadi einenu gadol babayit hazu mimeni v'lo hasach mimeni me'uma ki im ota ba'asher at ishto v'ech e'eseh racha'av hagadolah hazot v'chatati le'Elohim vayehi kadbara el Yosef yom yom v'lo shema aleha amen aleha bishka etzla lehot ima.
Okay, back to Marty, Barbara, Kay. Okay. You've got to unmute yet again. Okay, lower left, just press it once, the microphone icon. No? You had it before.
There we
There
go.
we
Oh, wait, just once.
There, yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamelamed Torah li'amo Yisrael.
Amen. Awesome. And thank you. Before I bless you, I just want to underline Matt's comment that Marcy, our co-president, stepping forward in the ritual arena as well, said she just wanted to brush up on her Torah reading because it's been a while. And she gets one, we're only reading a few verses at a time. She gets one of the trope marks that only comes up 4 times in the entire Torah. If you heard that, Vayamein, underlining the word that Joseph refused. That refusal gets that extra oomph of this very rare trope, the shalshelet, and way to go, Marcy, thank you. And way to go, Barbara, for being such a beloved and a caretaker and a presence and a muse and an inspiration. And to Kay for being such a steady rock through so many ups and downs in your family, and a blessing to Marty as well. We spotlight again, but even when I'm talking, I'd love to see you. There we go. Thank you so much. All right. And is that Charlie Jr. there?
Stand up. Want to wave? Wave hello?
Yay. So Charlie, a bunch of us knew your uncle, your namesake, and love your grandpa and your family. And we are so thrilled that you're back in town this weekend and that we have 3 generations gathered together. The piece that I'm sorry to have to share, which is never easy. We all have a terminal diagnosis called life, but some of us have it with a little more urgency than others. When we know that there is something growing inside us that can no longer be treated, and when we are still in a beautifully active and present and loving phase, still growing, still contributing, Marty is there, still loving, still connecting, still growing, still contributing, and Gewalt talk about the contributions over a lifetime, both in the larger world, in journalism and politics and academia, but also in interpersonal connections from the closest who are gathered here on this screen to an incredible network of colleagues and mentees and so many others touched along the way. Had the honor of tuning in with this incredible family earlier and saying that Misha Berach, when we say the healing prayer, as we are about to, that it can feel a little weird to ask for refuah shlema, for complete healing for someone who we know, according to the medical annals, does not have any likelihood of what we classically call a recovery. But healing can be at a different level. Healing can be an additional measure of acceptance of that terminal diagnosis that is life. And if we can all tune in to the gratitude for who and what we have, and who and what we have had, and try to let that balance the pain of the process of letting go, whether imminent or further down the line, that is a gift. And that is the last growth opportunity for Marty and for all of us. So I'm going to say we're going to use the chat for 2 separate things, and the chat will be saved. And I want to invite anyone who wants to offer an appreciation to Marty. How wonderful to be able to hear that in life. And then in a moment, we'll open up for additional names for the healing blessing. Charlie, I saw your hand up. you want to say something?
I have an appreciation for Marty. He's the best grandfather ever. And he's really cool and smart.
Oh man, you nailed it. And cool and smart, and all of us who have the pleasure of knowing and loving Marty and this family see the coolness and can't possibly miss the smart. What a gift. So on behalf of the community, we are sending love to each of you. And even as we remember those who are no longer with us in this family, including Sue, and including Steve, and including Charlie Sr., we celebrate the people who are here. And we send love around the corner to Marty and to each of you.
Thank
A
you.
blessing. Feel free to keep the appreciations coming as we mix them in with additional names in the chat for the Mishiberach. And we remember when we say a refuah shlema, a complete healing, that we mean exactly as Debbie Friedman says it, a renewal of spirit, if not a renewal of body. Mishiberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Mishiberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Refuah shlema to everyone listed, and to all of us in our own way. And to Marty and family, what an honor to have you with us this weekend, as it's been an honor for so long and will continue to be. Blessings all. Turning now to a younger generation, Benji Eisman Whiting for the, is this the first or second reading after the bar mitzvah, which was not all that long ago? Feel free to unmute and we can see you there. Excellent, with the beautiful art in the background. Are you able to do the blessings as well? Or do you want me to do those for you? Or do you have a Kate or a Vanessa nearby who could do them with you?
Get our signal real quick. But we do lots of pretty great stuff.
Yeah. Look.
Okay. You want to do it together? Sure.
All right. Oh, I just note, sorry, one quick second. This is chapter 40, verse 20. So we are further ahead in the reading. And let's see. Yes, page 260 or page 256, the last 4 lines of the Parsha. Take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayi bayom hashalishi יום הולדת את פרעה, ויעש משתל לכל עבדיו, ויישא את ראש שר המשקים, ואת ראש שר האלפים בתוך עבדיו, וישב את שר המשקים על משקהו, וייתן הכוס על כף פרעה, ואת שר האלפים תלה כאשר פתר להם יוסף, ולא זכר שר המשקים את יוסף, וישכחהו.
Blessing after. Hamalamed Torah L'Amo Yisrael. Page 171 in the Siddur. Kate, Vanessa. Or I can say it for you and you can say Amen. Brucha Adya Eloheinu Ruach HaOlam Hamalamedet Torah L'Amo Yisrael. Amen. So beautiful job, Benji, and thank you. And that reminder again, not to be like the cupbearer. Don't forget the gratitude. Always remember to tune in. Yashkoach. As a sort of haftarah meets prayer for our country, we're going to focus on this Thanksgiving theme one more time. Many of us know the website ritualwell.org. It's actually a project of the Reconstructionist movement and a gift to the Jewish world and beyond, celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. Its director is Hila Rabatsky, just remarkably talented organizer and poet. And this is actually her own composition. So Heather, if you are able to both screen share and read, this would be a gift. Was actually hoping the PDF that's linked at the website, because there's more than that line, but if that's all that we read, that alone will be wonderful. I'm going to recommend that you all look up ritualwell.org Thanksgiving and share this whole thing. And if you still have loved ones gathered on this Thanksgiving weekend, it is not too late to share the full reading. This in honor of the so-called story of 1621, with echoes in 1789 and only made official by Abraham Lincoln in the dark days of the Civil War. But remembering that in fact, apropos of Psalm 24, the earth is God's and the fullness thereof, that in line with the tradition of the ancestors on this land belongs to no one.
This land belongs to no one but God. The earth was here before us and will endure after we are gone. Let us walk gently upon this precious earth, taking only what we need, leaving little waste, nurturing the soil, revitalizing the land to sustain future generations.
Kein Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. And do look up This Land Belongs to No One Thanksgiving prayer honoring our ancestors and native elders on this land. Page 425, back in the Siddur. This is the last overlap of Hanukkah with Thanksgiving weekend for quite some time. It's not a full-blown Thanksgivika, but it is close. And believe it or not, tomorrow night, we light the candles. So in honor of that, it's hard to believe, but next Shabbat, when Isaac Beale becomes bar mitzvah, we have the rare 3 Torah morning. That's a lot of Hagbah, with all 3 Torahs in use, because it will be Hanukkah, which has its own maftir. It's the usual Parsha Miketz, but it's also going to be Rosh Chodesh. So in fact, the 30th day of Kislev is Shabbat, and the first day officially of Tevet is the following day, Sunday, though the actual Molad, the proper new moon itself astronomically, happens next Shabbat a week from now. So this is the week in Shul where we bless. Page 425, 424, tuning into all that we hope and pray for this month ahead. And we rise, as may be our custom, for the Birkat HaChodesh. Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Eloheinu v'lo avotinu v'imotinu, shetchadesh aleinu et hachodesh hazeh, letova v'livracha. V'titen lanu chaim arukim, chaim shel shalom, chaim shel tova, chaim shel bracha, chaim shel mazon ufarnasa, chaim shel chilutz atzamot, chaim sheyesh bahem ahava v'yirat shamayim, chaim she'en bahem busha uchlima, chaim shel osher v'chavod, chaim sheyesh bahem yosher utvuna v'haskel v'dea, chaim sheyimalu mishalot libenu letova. Amen. Selah. And as we prepare for a season of miracles, whether it's the few against the many, or the oil lasting 8 times longer, which is a 700% increase in fuel efficiency, we should all work towards such conservation measures. In this time of miracles, Misha asanisim lavotinu limotinu v'gala lotam me'avdut lecherut. Hu yigalotanu bekarov yekabetz nidachenu me'bakanfot haaretz. Chaverim kol Yisrael v'nomar Amen. Rosh Chodesh Tevet yeh bayom haShabbat haba ubayom harishon achareha aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel letova yechadeshehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel lechaim u'shalom. Amen. Lesason u'lesimcha. Amen. Lishua u'lenechama. Ve'nomar Amen. A happy Hanukkah to all, a meaningful bringing of light into the darkness, and a happy month of Tevet, starting a week from now. Page 441, as we conclude our Torah service. Uvnu chol yom arshu Adonai revot alfei Yisrael ki lachem tov danati lachem torati al ta'azovu etz chayim hi lemachazikim ba betomcheha meushar teracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Aleinu, Chadesh Aleinu kekedem. Invite us to be seated as we're in the home stretch of our davening today, turning to the mourner's Kaddish, to the memory of those who are no longer with us. We've had occasion this weekend with loved ones surely to remember those who didn't make it to this Thanksgiving with love and with blessing. There were many losses in our own community up to a month ago, and our Shloshim list is blessedly empty at this moment, but those who saw the news last night and are fellow fans of the great artistic contributions of a generation of Jews that we are losing today will remember with blessing Stephen Sondheim, giant of Broadway, lost to us yesterday. Zichrono Livracha. We remember as well those whose yahrzeits fall from today through this end of this coming week. Steve Sharp's grandmother, Goldie Kaplan. Sandy Pearlstein's mother, Miriam Pearlstein. Sheila Bloom's father, Aaron. Manny Goldsmith's late wife, our collective beloved on her first yahrzeit, Shirley Goldsmith. Rain Weiner's grandmother, which is also Eileen Dwyer's mother, Fanny Weiner. Arthur Berger's mother, Augusta Mildred Robinson Berger. Putzi Hirschberg's late husband and our beloved Alan Hirschberg. Julie Stern's mother, Lenore. Jesse Abraham's brother, Oren. Jesse with us, Zichrono Livracha. Bila Organics' father, Max Sherman. Mimi Jaffe's mother, Sophie Kranz. Liz Wanger's father, Alfred Lazarus. Judy Itkin's mother, Sylvia. Adam Hirsch's father, Solomon. Polly Panitz's mother, Harriet Panitz. Elena Broder Feldman's grandfather, Charles Broder. Sheila Feldman's, Jamie Feldman's uncle, Eugene Settleman. Ariel Ribeiro's grandmother, Sherry Michelman. Shari Book's grandfather, Ben Kalish. Jerry Robinson's father, Nathan. And Diane Horn's father, Henry Barak. Anyone else that we are remembering, feel free to add their names as well into the chat. Page 451, rising as may be our custom, or as we are in mourning for Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei teda v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, all of their memories, for a blessing. Page 445, our last full prayer together. We rise in body or in spirit. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah temet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, va'anachnu korin, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shirut HaShamayim b'yoseh ha'atzim asher b'yom Yitacharinu d'alken nekadav letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai b'shul v'yisrael 449 near the bottom. Ki ha-malchut shelcha yamayad timloch b'chavod kach katuv b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. We may be seated. We're about to turn to Jesse Abraham, our treasurer and board member, on behalf of the congregation for a word of greeting. I want to invite us, if we are able and willing, to put ourselves back on camera at the tail end, and recommend going into gallery view, and just having the wonderful opportunity that Zoom does afford us of greeting one another as Jesse greets us all.
Well, Shabbat Shalom on behalf of the board. Share Shabbat Shalom to all, and thanks to all our readers, and of course to Rabbi Fred, who brought the specialness of this week into the liturgy with us today. Thank you, Rabbi Fred. Just a couple of announcements. The mention that there is a board meeting on Tuesday night. If you would like to attend or have a statement you'd like to make, to please send a note to the presidents@adatshalom.net mailbox before 5 o'clock on Monday, so that you can be slotted into an otherwise tight program. But of course, you're welcome to please enjoy and spend the evening with us. In a couple of weeks, we are pleased to host Deborah Waxman, President and CEO of Reconstructing Judaism at Adat Shalom, and she will be elsewhere in the DMV area, but at the weekend of December 10 and 11, please consider coming in person to welcome her in person. And of course, Zoom is good too, but of course, come in person. And finally, just as Rabbi Fred mentioned, the first night of Hanukkah is Sunday. So please, certainly may you enjoy your celebration of oil with your potato latkes, your sufganiot, and whatever else you bring to it. So with that, thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Amen. Thank you so much, Jesse. And again, next week, Isaac Beale's bar mitzvah in the middle of Hanukkah with Hallel and Rosh Chodesh and all kinds of good stuff. And the week after that, Rabbi Deborah Waxman with us for the morning service for a BYOO, bring your own oneg, and then a bit of learning afterwards as well, all at Adat Shalom, as well as a full weekend on Zoom. So much to look forward to together. George just saying, as we focus on Sue, glad to see both of you in our Refuah Shlema list this week as well. And how wonderful to have you both on screen. Wonderful to have grad school returnees, hey Rachel, and any manner of others that I'm not seeing on the at the moment on the Zoom. But this interactive opportunity, Carol Light there looking good and able to join us fully in this interactive way. What a blessing, and blessings all around. Special thanks to Heather and Minna as Zoom Gabayim, and also Shelley Sadowski for pinch hitting as well. Thank you, thank you. So in a moment, we are going to, for those who would like, just a short little bit will be done so soon. You'll enjoy the rest of this gorgeous Thanksgiving weekend Shabbos. But just about 10 minutes for small breakout groups, and then we'll come back together just for Kiddush. So anyone who would like, again, on screen and unmute, and you'll just greet a random group about the size of an oneg table, if all goes well. And it'll be a beautiful thing to, oh, excellent, thank you. So you are already assigned and have at it, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. Excellent. Okay. Great. Harold, it's good to see you. If you'd like to press the button and join a breakout group, feel free. And if not, that's okay. Lisa and Murray, hello and blessings. And Barbara and everyone, if you're still there, I just want to thank you so much for being with us today. And we will be in touch following. Love to all. And Kay and Charlie, great to see you. Yeah, right. So Minna and Heather, thank you. All right. can you send in about 5 minutes, send a 5 more minutes note to everyone? And I'm gonna come up and get Kiddush and the Kiddush stuff, and then we'll wrap it up in whatever, 9 minutes. Okay. So Carol, it looks like you're back in this group. If you're there, feel free to unmute and greet. We have a couple minutes. Okay. Okay. I didn't see, did the 4-minute mark go out? Okay. Thank you. Oh, hey, Arthur. Ah, look who's there. Rachel, Amy. I couldn't see who's walking away. Okay. All right. Glad to see you. So Amy and Heather are both on the screen, and you are both Minnesotans, Minneapolitans right now. You're not flying back at like 7 a.m. Tomorrow, are you? Okay. Would have been funny if you're on the same flight. Awesome. Blessings all. And is that actually a Jan awake in bed? Jan, if you can hear, wave. Yes, it is. Thank you, Heather. Yeah. Oh, hey, Gary. Good Shabbos. Awesome. All right. Hameira la'aretz beladarim aleha berachamim. Reprise of Joshua Shofsky as we come back together. Going to full screen, full gallery. What a gift to be with you all. Blessings for a sweet rest of this Thanksgiving weekend and Shabbos, and lots more opportunity to count our many blessings. Page 465 for anyone who would like to follow along. Unless there's a volunteer out there who, Steve has definitely brought the challah, and we are grateful because I only have the wine down here. Thank you for the oversize. Let's be sure to spotlight him when we get to there. Kiddush. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat la'asot et haShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בנות ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. סברי חבריי.
L'chaim.
Anyone else? This is a good time to unmute. Go crazy. L'chaim's all around.
L'chaim!
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
and the challah that ate Northern Virginia. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu roach haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Awesome. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Participants are allowed to unmute themselves according to the security settings. So keep trying and wish each other a good Shabbos and a happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Here you go, Carol.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Okay. And Steve, thank you for the challah and thank you for disappearing.
Shabbos, everyone.
Awesome. Great to see everyone. Oh man. Again, Shelley, thank you. Heather, Minna, thank you. Jesse, thank you. And good to see you all.
Yeah.
And George
Wow.
and Sue, hang in there. Beautiful to see you. Yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
If I sign, I think I can sign off. Okay. Bye, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh, Steve has eaten the challah. Nice touch. We will end the recording there. Oh, beautiful.